Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our education webinar, Market Overview Thailand, co-organized by the UK Department for International Trade and the British Chamber of Commerce Thailand, BCCT. We are delighted to have all of you here. And before we start, can I please invite our DIT Commercial Counselor, Richard Porter, for the opening remarks.
Jaja, thank you very much for that introduction. And can I first of all extend a very warm welcome to all of you who are joining us today. We have people registered throughout the world, primarily from the UK and Thailand, but we have people from many other countries joining us as well. So we're very happy to have you with us, and we very much hope that you find today's session useful. As you know, this is a webinar that we are holding in conjunction with our friends at the British Chamber of Commerce in Thailand. And both my department, the Department for International Trade, and the British Chamber of Commerce in Thailand work pretty extensively in the education sector. So we'll be able to provide you and your companies any support that you might need with your business endeavours. Now, as you all know, education is really one of the UK's greatest exports. We refer to it as soft power because alongside things like British music, alongside things like British sport and the Premier League, it's one of those exports that's really difficult to measure in terms of pounds, but really is invaluable in terms of our reputation, in terms of our need and desire to attract lots of students to come and study their masters and bachelors and other qualifications in the UK. And it's also one of those areas where we see friendships, lifelong friendships are really established at university and through other alumni at the educational institutions. And those relationships very often continue throughout the years. I know, having worked in Thailand for the past 4 years or so, that there is a huge amount of respect for the British education system. We, I think, benefit from that in many ways. Most notably, people are already well disposed towards the British. They already understand how our education system, how our legal system, how our finance system works. And I think those relationships are very important for our British companies as they look to export and look to increase their global footprint. And of course, when it comes to international schools, Bangkok has many. It's a matter of debate how many British or British branded schools there are here, but they are spread throughout the country, primarily centered in Greater Bangkok, but also in Phuket, in Chiang Mai and beyond. And most of those schools offer both IGCSEs and IBs as well. And the operating model for those schools really varies from those who are non-profit making institutions to those who have Thai financial backers or other international backers to help support the business. And of course, the business is delivering great education and great exam results. That's the thing that Thai parents really demand. Now, we know that traditionally Thai parents used to send their children to the UK for education after the primary years. And that continues. Very often children are sent to boarding schools at the age of 11 for those who can afford it. But I think what we're seeing with the current COVID crisis and the restrictions on movements throughout the globe, that has become much more complicated for people who do want to send their children to the UK. We don't think it's going to stop completely. We think it will return after COVID has disappeared, or indeed we've learned to live with COVID. But we also have this great new opportunity for people to keep their children in Thailand and educate them at these great British schools. Now, whilst there are lots of schools and there are lots of opportunities, I really have to emphasize that it is a hugely competitive market, and making sure that you have the right connections and that you have the right type of financial backing is almost as important as things like your facilities, your access to modern technologies, and the quality of your teachers as well. Thai people at a certain level are very happy and very willing to pay for a branded school. It brings a certain amount of cachet to their reputation, and indeed their children benefit from a hugely positive experience in an international school following an English curriculum. I want to say, all of these comments equally apply to vocational education as well. We have seen over the last few years BTECs being rolled out throughout Thailand, and there is a huge demand for this type of education. Thailand currently has an economic plan called Thailand 4.0, which really looks to how the country can move forward beyond becoming stuck in the middle income trap. And a really important part of that is education and training and making sure that the workforce is skilled up for the needs of the future. So I really just want to close by thanking all of our speakers for giving up their time today to be with us. Thank you very much on behalf of everyone at the British Embassy. And thank you also to our partners at the British Chamber of Commerce in Thailand. And of course, to my colleague Jaja as well, who's done a great job organising today's event. We are here to support your efforts. We can support you from finding financial backers, to helping you find sites for your schools, to working with the Ministry of Education, the Office of the Private Education Commissioner. It's a really complex landscape, but we are here to help you. So please do reach out to any of us if you are thinking of taking the first step on that journey. That's it for me. Thank you. Back to you, Jaja.
Thank you, Richard. So now we have the first speaker, Uraiwan Samoli from British Council. British Council is also our good partner. So over to you, Uraiwan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jaja and DIT for inviting me and British Council to be part of this session. I think it's very good timing now to get the updates on the opportunity and also challenges in Thailand. So before I start, may I just share my screen? So bear with me. Okay, I hope you can see the PowerPoint, the slide. In my session, I'm going to start to talking about the opportunities and also the challenges of UK education as a whole in Thailand. So I will talk about the number of students to the UK and also the opportunity and challenges from the current situation and the policy of the government in Thailand. So let me start. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let me start with the number of students from Southeast Asia in higher education in university in the UK. This is the number from 2019-20, which is the latest, the most updated one that we have. So this is to show to you where Thailand is in terms of the student mobility. So for higher education, so you can see that Thailand is one of the key markets for higher education in the UK. So around more than 7,000 Thai students currently in higher education in university in the UK compared to other countries in Southeast Asia. So Thailand ranked number 3. So number is quite close to number of students from Singapore. So Thailand is one of the key market and the number is growing year on year. So for this slide, this show the number of the trend of the student from Thailand to higher education in the UK. So compared to 2015-16, so you can see the increase, nearly 10% of the number of students from Thailand to higher education. Mostly for higher education, Thai students will do master degree in the UK because it's 1 year master degree, so that's the key selling point for Thai students. But I think in the past few years, we also see the trend on the increasing number of undergraduate students to the UK as well. So it means that younger students start to travel to study in the UK. I think this is maybe because of the number of international schools in Thailand that have been increasing year on year as well. So we can see more and more Thai students go to do undergraduate or bachelor degree in the UK. If we compare the number of students for higher education with other English-speaking countries, so for Thailand, the UK is the #1 study destination for Thai students, and followed by the US, Australia, and quite small number of students from going to Canada. So it is good that the UK is the most popular choice for Thai students and has been perceived very high quality education. So this is for higher education or university level. So let's have a look at the number of the younger students, the number of Thai students who study in schools, in independent school in the UK. So compared to university level, so this quite a small number, but I think you can see the increasing trend of students from Thailand to study in school in the UK. But in 2021, of course, the number has been dropped. This is mainly because of the pandemic. So, but in the past 2-3 years, the number of students from Thailand to school in the UK has been increasing. Okay, so that's all about the number of the students. So the UK is one of the very popular choice for Thai students. So let's have a look at the Thai education and the government structure as well. So when you work with the Thai university or colleges, or even work with the ministry in Thailand, so that you get the clear understanding on the structure of the ministry in Thailand. So in terms of education in Thailand, there are 2 key ministries who are responsible for education in Thailand. In the past, there used to be only one ministry education until 2018. The Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research, Innovation has been established by merging the work, some of the work from the Ministry of Science and also higher education together in one ministry. So at the moment, we have Ministry of Education responsible for basic education, so primary education, secondary education, and also vocational education is also under Ministry of Education. An Office of Private Education Commission will be responsible for private school, and this will include international school as well. So new international school has to be registered, or you have to work with the OPEC or Office of Private Education Commission to establish a new international school. And there's also the OEC who is responsible for the policy side of things in the Ministry of Education. So basic education, vocational education, international school under Ministry of Education. And for higher education and research, there's a new ministry called Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research, and Innovation. And under the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, there's a Higher Education Commission organization who is responsible and who supervise the university from across Thailand. So this includes public university and private university as well. And the NRCT, the Research Council, is also under this ministry, as well as other research agencies. So this is how the education in Thailand in the government structure look like. Okay, and when we look at the external situation at the moment, and also the policy of the Ministry of the MOE and also Ministry of Higher Education and Science. So this is I think the opportunity and also challenges for UK education. In terms of the opportunities, so you can see that UK education is perceived to be high quality and also one of the most popular destinations for Thai students. So no matter what it will be study in the UK, or maybe English assessment, or the educational product from the UK. I think the UK product and services has been perceived high in quality for Thai student and also organization. So I think this is the opportunity. Even though we have the COVID-19 pandemic, but I think post-pandemic, I think the demand on the number to study in the UK will be picking up, and the perception toward the UK education, I think, remain the same. UK qualification remain high quality for Thai student and organization, so that the opportunity. And about the reskill and upskill, in the strategy of the Ministry of Higher Education and Research, there are 4 key strategies. One of them is people development. And the Thai university now, they're not looking only at the offering the degree course for students, but they are looking about the reskill and upskill people in the workforce as well. So that's why the concept of lifelong learning has been introduced in Thai university and Thai higher education. More students looking for non-degree education as well. So it's not only master degree or bachelor degree now that they're looking for, but the short course, the training program will be in high demand as well, I think, in the future, according to the policy of the ministry. So I think that this could be an opportunity as well for UK education provider to provide the training courses or work with colleges in Thailand or Thai university to offer the short courses of the training program. And for Thai university, the ministry has also initiated the new project called Cyber University Thailand to offer the MOOCs program by Thai university. So it's like distance learning start to be more important here in Thailand and for Thai people. And for the next opportunity is about the English and digital literacy. So in Ministry of Education, so both for basic education and the vocational education, they all aim for the English and digital literacy improvement for both teachers and also students, because they are aiming for the 21st century skill. So this will be opportunity for offering the English training for teachers in Thailand, or some of the innovation or the digital offer that could be in high demand as well. Ministry of Education has just launched the platform, the national platform for teachers, students, and people in the public as well to get the training or to get the teaching materials from that platform. So this is all the opportunity for UK education provider. But on the other hand, there are some challenges as well. In Thailand, we can see the declining number of university students. This is because of the population structure in Thailand and the low birth rate. So number of students in university has been declined year on year. So, but at the same time, there's also opportunity from international students from neighboring countries. So you can see that now many Thai university, they start to recruit more students from neighboring country. From the information we have in Thai higher education, we got majority of international students in Thailand are from China. A lot from Myanmar, Cambodia, and Vietnam as well. So they come to study for university degree in Thailand, and also for the international school, that could be the opportunity as well. So even though we have declining on the number of Thai students, but there opportunity as well to attract international students to the program. And the next challenge, I think, for UK provider is the increasing number of partnerships or the work with the country in Asia. So apart from English-speaking country, now I think Thai colleges and university, they start to work more with the university in Asia. So it could be university or organization in Taiwan, Japan, Korea, or China. So I think it's useful to keep an eye on the partnership or the work they have as well. And apart from English at the moment, so Chinese become one of the languages that the ministry would like to improve in student as well. So, and for the last one, the challenges is the changing demands on the workforce. This can be perceived opportunity or challenges, but student at the moment and also company as well, they have changed in terms of demand on the workforce. So there are new skills that they need for their company, for example, the digital skill or the data analysis or AI. So this is the new skill, the new program. So it's quite important for UK education provider to try to keep adapting or developing your product to make it align with the demands from the student and also from the companies or the government as well. And many young students now, they would like to have their own business, to set up their own business. So entrepreneurship skill is more in demand, or many of them want to do startup or tech company. So this is a changing landscape, I think, in the workforce demand in Thailand could be perceived as opportunity or challenges. So I think that's all from me for the opportunity and challenges for education providers. So I would like to hand it over to Kun Jaja from DIT.
Yes. Thank you, Uraiwan from British Council, for the overview of UK education in Thailand, as well as the opportunities and challenges in this market. Before we go on to the next speaker, can I please remind you that if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box and we'll address them at the end of the session. The questions can be for any of our three speakers. Now on to the next speaker, Afshan Baj from Evolve Global, please.
Thanks, Jaja, and good to be here. So let me also share my screen and go into presentation mode. So there we go. So good morning and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Afshan. I'm a learning and skills specialist, and I'm delighted to be talking to you today about challenges and opportunities, but looking at it from the vocational point of view, and also focusing on Thailand and a little bit on the UK to give all our attendees something to take away. Whoops. So just a real quick snapshot here. I mean, I've got 23 years of experience in TVET and leading education and development in the UK and international TVET sectors. Currently, I work for myself, so I support lots of colleges in the UK, as well as working with colleges overseas. And what I'm going to cover today is to give you use my experience of projects in Thailand as a case study for you to think about the kind of opportunities and projects that are possible. I'm going to talk about the opportunities and challenges as I see them, as I've experienced them in Thailand's TVET sector. And takeaway points for those of you that are Thai training providers or other organizations who are thinking about partnering with UK colleges. So I hope to be able to give you some insights as well. So to start with, just an overview of my experience in Thailand, and I've now probably been working in and out of Thailand for about 8 years. So what I'd like to do is to present 4 projects through which you can see the types of opportunities that are possible, and perhaps you would discover for yourself too. The first example case study that I'd like to offer is one that I'm really proud of. This was I work closely with Nawamin College in Mihonsong up in the north, and I'm still in touch with the principal, still in touch with the teachers, and I'm still supporting their enterprise programs. But this was a British Council and OVEC-sponsored project, and it brought together 6 Thai colleges from every corner of Thailand, as well as 3 UK college partners, so that we could jointly develop a national curriculum for enterprise. That curriculum was rolled out certainly in the 6 colleges who participated in the pilot. Students were able to get the opportunity to get startup loans. The team won an award for this back in the UK, the National Enterprise Educators Award. And so every aspect of this project really gave a springboard for many different things, and I'm going to touch on wider benefits as well through my presentation. Another relationship that I'm immensely proud of, and is a very special, long-standing relationship, is the first partnership that I developed in Thailand with a private vet provider. And some of the benefits here were that because it was private, that there was more decision-making powers with the owners, and therefore that flexibility to discover and explore different areas. And we looked together at things like leadership, governance, teacher development, quality assurance, curriculum development, but also through our local partner, we were able to get some on-the-ground updates as to what was happening in the Thai vocational sector, but also through our partner to discover what business opportunities are available. So in that first case study with Nawamin College, very different experience in that, you know, the state-owned college is much bigger, very many more students, very closely aligned to what a typical FE college might look like. Private-owned colleges are generally smaller, but great opportunities and flexible opportunities here. My other great relationship, I would say, and BCCT, I hope I don't embarrass you, but, you know, they have been absolutely instrumental in supporting my organization and the organizations that I have represented to find their way. DIT have also been immensely instrumental in that. But for me, using the support and services that BCCT offer to explore business opportunities was tremendous. So I, through the British Chambers of Commerce Thailand, was able to bring together a leadership taster program, bringing Lego Serious Play, as I'm a Lego Serious Play facilitator, to Thailand. And although my plans in Thailand are still delayed for lots of different reasons, that situation, that experience was the launch pad for me to really open up opportunities in the UK and, funnily enough, in the Middle East. But it's the case study, and it started in Thailand. And I think that's something for you to consider alongside your TVET or VET partnerships, is to think about wider opportunities. The last case study that I want to present to you is an exploration. So this was around a TVET college, a FE college in the UK, London-based college. And colleges in the UK offer higher level programs. So vocational, of course, but all the way through to level 7, level 8, so that's degree and master's level. UK colleges have very strong disciplines and topics across those levels. So this was a UK college interested in working with Bangkok University, and what I was really delighted to see is the amount of vocational provision that goes on within the universities in Thailand. So I think this particular scoping was around a dual program in forensics, and that relationship was set up, and I know that that college developed that then further. So I think what I've shown you here are 4 examples of real projects. Each one is unique, each one has a different focus. However, all 4 projects had loads of benefits for partners on both sides. So through these projects, partners were able to gain recognition in their region or internationally or within their professional networks. These case studies have also been really useful to reach out and to take opportunities in other international skills development work and funded projects. through these projects and through this work, there has been the opportunity to get to know organisations such as the British Council, OVEC, BCCT, DIT, and the Embassy, more. I've had many meetings at OVEC. They've always been very open, very welcoming, and very informative in terms of what they're trying to do. But none of that would be possible without the partners that I've had on the ground. So there are dual programs in place through the work I've done so far, student exchange opportunities, and of course we know that's difficult over the last couple of years, but I know that there is a real passion to get that back off the ground. Lots of knowledge sharing and knowledge exchange opportunities, whether it's shared resources or developing teaching and learning. And of course, on both sides, both in the UK and in Thailand, there is a very strong desire to bring internationalization into the organization. So these are benefits that I have experienced, and partners that I've supported, clients that I've supported have also experienced. So to focus now just specifically on Thailand, and so this is really coming from my experience and then the intelligence that I gather on the ground. So I could just present, first of all, a snapshot of the Thai vet sector. There's lots for you to be able to go and find out. Speak to DIT, speak to BCCT, have a look at, for example, the World Bank have great profiles for each country. So I'm not going to go into that kind of detail, but these are key messages that I felt you might appreciate. So vet does play a very important part, a very important role within the Thai education system. And you've seen that already through Urain's presentation there. And yes, the Thai government have ambitious targets for increasing the number of students in vet, that not necessarily in vet colleges, but that's part of the picture. Vet colleges, short courses, private colleges, wherever there is a possibility to develop vocational programs and qualifications, because those are seen as being the future skills for those future industries. Do have a look at the Vocational Education Plan 2017-2036. It is available on OVEC's website, and certainly you can Google it, and I'm sure partners here could give you access. Employment outcomes of vet graduates are strong, and there is data to support that. Vocational qualifications are also associated with good wages, and that there is a strong demand for these skills in the Thai labour market. So what this snapshot tells me, and hopefully shares with you, is that vet is a very strong, seen as a very strong opportunity within Thailand. It's positioned really well. Yes, there are considerations to bear in mind, call them challenges, but sometimes challenges give rise to opportunities. So yes, there's a gap between vet and tertiary education. That's global. I mean, that's in the UK, that's everywhere. So, but there is a gap, and there is a difference in how the two sectors work. Employers are facing a shortage, or they're saying that they're facing a shortage of workers with vet qualifications. So I think there's a real interesting piece of work to be done around here. And again, DIT, BCCT will maybe have this data. What are those industry areas, and are there opportunities to develop short programs? Vet graduate skills aren't always, seen as being completely aligned to what employer needs are, but I think that it's impossible, because industry moves at such a much faster rate than education is able to kind of keep up with. However, partnering with local providers to help them to implement those courses that just finish off the soft skills perhaps of students and learners to make them truly compatible with the workforce. You do need to think about price. I've never been able to come in and have great big numbers on my pricing, but had to think very carefully about what is affordable, what is, and where the values are. In terms of state-owned and private-owned, I mean, please consider both. There are differences. For example, I mentioned earlier, private-owned colleges are able to make decisions much faster, much quicker, but they are generally smaller. State-owned, much bigger, and there are very many more students there. You must give it time. I mean, I said I've been working in and out of Thailand for about 8 years, and some of those relationships happen quickly, but we needed to give time to get to know what the other offers and how we want to work together. MOUs are great. You can sign as many as you want, but then what do you do next? And I think this is something for you to think about, is plan that in at the very, very start and keeping the momentum going. Levels of English language can vary among staff and students, so a consideration for you when you're thinking about joint programs and partnership work. And of course, the biggest challenge of all has been the pandemic, and just absolutely devastating. However, tourism, travel, hospitality, spa, those areas have been affected, but I think there is a possibility of recovery, and therefore support around those industries and around those courses might be really welcomed. All teaching has moved online as far as possible, which gives rise to other opportunities in terms of that easy access that you have when you're working virtually. Exams have moved online, and again, there are opportunities there to explore. So if you're a UK training provider listening into this, just a few insights for you here, that OVEC are developing and modernizing courses around automation, agriculture, robotics, marine, biomedical, digital, and infrastructure. Dual vocational training is very popular. So these are apprenticeship models. And so if you are an apprenticeship provider, very definitely go in with that in mind. Areas such as health studies, nursing, enterprise, entrepreneurship, English, engineering, medical, digital, these are areas that are TVET providers are really open to having partnerships in. Thinking about sharing best practice, and I think around UK approaches to online and remote virtual learning, and there's a lot to be shared there with Thai partners, opportunities for teacher development initiatives, and supporting recovery plans. So whether it's industry or through colleges. But thinking more widely, I think, for me, Thailand has been a really strong base in Southeast Asia and allowed me to explore a wider region. There is a familiarity that I found in Thailand, which was very different to the rest of ASEAN. I was able to implement and exchange knowledge very quickly and acclimatize very quickly in Thailand. There are business opportunities as well as education partnership opportunities. And yes, VET is always the poor relation, but there is a healthy respect for TVET and teachers. A country that's achieved and is really on track of achieving their SDG goals really shows you the passion and desire and to do well and to progress. Now, if you're a Thai training provider and you're thinking about how do I reach out to UK colleges, well, there are some challenges here for you to think about also. However, again, these challenges give rise to opportunities. So a lot of teaching has moved online. Colleges are trying to catch up with exams and practical courses. So it's a difficult time, but there's opportunity there. So for you, if you're in Thailand thinking about reaching out the other way, UK colleges have very strong international departments, dedicated teams, and international objectives are very much linked to organisation plans. UK colleges are very keen to share good practice, and there is some really good learning around effective online and remote learning, as well as how to develop practical skills now that we're all virtual. How do you check practical skills and keep developing those? The virtual world has brought us closer, and Zoom, Teams, and Google Suite are the key areas that the main platforms that UK providers use. Strong desire to internationalize the college, a strong desire to develop employer links, dual certificates, and at the VET level, also student recruitment. These are disciplines that are very strong in UK colleges, soft skills, digital, and so on. And they go from level 3 all the way up to level 7. And a really strong teacher development and education leadership development opportunities. So just going to leave you with 6 tips to really make it work. As I was saying earlier, having an MOU is one thing, but really to make it work, align your purpose and values, be open about what you want to get out of the partnership on both sides. Don't be shy, just be open. work out where this fits into your organization development plan and think about long-term goals as well as short-term wins. Approach key agencies and funding opportunities together with your Thai partners or your UK partners and opening doors for each other. So the remaining slides just tell you a little bit more about what I do, but you'll see that in when you receive the slides. But thank you so much for listening, and I hope that was useful. So let me pass back to Jaja. Thank you.
Thank you, Afshan. That was a great insight into your journeys and experiences in vocational education. The audience, if you have any questions for her or any of our speakers, please feel free to put them in our Q&A chat box. And now over to Freddie Cloak from ISC Research. Freddie.
Thanks, Jaja. Thank you, Jaja, and thanks to all the other panelists for their interesting and insightful presentations. Let me just share my screen. Right. Hello, and thank you for this opportunity to talk with you today. My name is Freddie Cloak, and I am the School Development Manager at ISC Research, and my work focuses on school investor partnerships and development opportunities. Today, I will talk with you about school investment in Thailand, why partner with a British school, and how to do it successfully. ISC Research tracks the world's international schools market and is the recognized source of data and intelligence on market developments, trends, and shifts. We produce international school market reports, solutions, and support for school development, acquisition, and new school investment. British education is highly valued. UK-oriented learning and exams are currently offered by 52% of all international schools in the world. British independent school brands are in high demand by the wealthiest brand-conscious parents, particularly in the global cities of East and Southeast Asia. Although these schools are very high profile in cities in which they're located, according to ISC Research analysis of data, including data from this school year, this sector still only represents 1.3% of the entire international schools market. However, these schools consistently have a very powerful presence in their markets and raise visibility of the wider international school market, which, as ISC Research has recorded, ultimately increases enrollment growth for the wider international education sector. As of this year, 144 of the international schools in Thailand are British in their orientation, and 39 of these are considered premium international schools, charging within the highest tuition fee band in the country. Some of these British-oriented schools are using Cambridge International or other international curricula, such as the International Primary Curriculum, to deliver National Curriculum of England outcomes. Others are following National Curriculum of England guidelines or adapted versions of this that better suit the location and student demographic. Currently, there are 10 independent school brands in Thailand, 9 of which originate from the UK, plus 1 from the United States. All are located in Bangkok, except for Rugby School Thailand, which is in Chonburi in East Thailand. British independent school brands in Bangkok include Brighton College, Bromsgrove, Harrow, Heathfield, King's College Wimbledon, Wellington College, and 2 campuses for Shrewsbury School, the City and Riverside campuses. Here you can see the increase in popularity of British education in Thailand. The table shows enrollment growth at all international schools in Thailand compared to UK-oriented schools over the last 10 years. Enrollment at UK-oriented international schools in Thailand has grown at a dramatically faster rate than enrollment at all international schools in Thailand. 103% over the last 10 years compared to 67% for all international schools. There are several reasons why Thailand has destination potential for British independent schools. Firstly, the Thai government is supportive of developing its young people with global mindsets who are critical thinkers and future ready. Secondly, Thailand offers a good alternative to families relocating for educational purposes from China and South Korea, where there are strict rules surrounding local children attending international schools there. Thirdly, various economic development plans in Thailand are likely to encourage more demand for international school places, such as Thailand 4.0, the development of the Bangkok mass transit system, and substantial residential development. Finally, teacher recruitment to international schools is relatively straightforward, with current international schools reporting a high number of applications for most posts. Here you can see the average annual tuition fees that international schools in Thailand have been able to demand. Average tuition fee growth was relatively static in the 5 years from 2011 to 2016, but has increased significantly since then and currently stands at over $11,000 per year. When we analyze this by schools within the premium fee sector of the market, average fees have grown from an average of $13,807 in 2011 to $19,138 today. And in the increasingly popular mid-market fee sector in Thailand, which has been influenced significantly by the demand from local families, average fees have increased from $7,302 in 2011 to $10,906 today. This gives you just some data insights. More data and trend analysis about Thailand's international schools are available in our Thailand Market Intelligence Report. In addition to knowing the data for identifying market potential, there are some crucial steps necessary to establish a successful investor-school partnership, as well as some common pitfalls to be aware of. These include doing your research. This process requires thorough, independent exploration and due diligence. Not enough research into appropriate partners can be problematic. For example, an investor needs to know a school has enough resource on board to manage a project. Next, both parties need to ensure there is a collective agreement by all stakeholders. For a school, that will include the governing body, and for investors, that might be shareholders. Expert partners with specialisms in the location and the market are essential. These should include a legal partner to protect your school or company, and a research partner that can deliver current and independent market intelligence and data. Next, you should understand the business models possible before you commit to your partnership. Common business models include, but are not limited to, a service agreement, a franchise with management agreement, or a joint venture. Next, your partnership selection process is crucial to the success of the school. When we hear of partnerships failing, it is often because one or both sides didn't select a partner with the same ethos and outcomes in mind. Investor partners who are only influenced by the school's position in a league table, rather than considering how the school can best support the partnership, can be problematic. Once the partnership is established, communication is key. Not appreciating cultural differences can be fatal to a partnership. School partners should consider how to make your school the school of choice, with emphasis on the curriculum, as well as focusing on celebrating Thai culture and heritage. Next, defining the roles within the partnership is key. A British brand can supply British education expertise, including curriculum, brand presence, the recruitment of British staff, training of Thai educators on a British-oriented teaching and learning approach, and strong links to internationally recognized universities. Finally, understanding the feasibility of a location due to government restrictions, education regulation, or local limitations is essential. If both parties are not fully aware of these limitations prior to conversations, much time can be wasted. In Thailand, schools should understand the demographics of the province or city that you are considering to enter. What are the demographics for eligible Thai students and other pupil nationalities, such as Chinese, Korean, Hong Kong, or Indian? Let's talk a little more about local regulations. It is essential that you know what you can and cannot do. This varies widely from country to country and are a key part of the ISC Research Country Market Intelligence reports, which are regularly updated for key countries, including Thailand. Regulations can adapt or change dramatically from year to year based on government intentions and policy. And in some cases, these can open up development opportunities rather than limit them. For example, families in Thailand are increasingly frustrated with the public education system due to the poor standards of English language tuition and large class number allowances, as well as the low scores for Thailand's public schools in the PISA rankings. This is driving demand for places at international schools in the country by local families. This demand has been helped by the fact that a 50% cap on local children at international schools has now been removed by the Thai government, allowing greater accessibility for local families. However, there are some limitations for foreign investors or brands considering Thailand, who need a local partner for at least 51% of school ownership and full ownership of the land. And there are new regulations in the country around staff demographics to ensure a certain percentage of Thai employees. These regulations and others are detailed extensively within our market intelligence reports, and all legal advisors guiding development potential should be fully conversant of current legislation. Here you can see the basic overview of the initial steps involved in establishing an investor-school partnership and the order in which they are typically approached. If anyone would like more detailed information on these steps, please get in touch with me directly, and I'll be happy to talk you through these. How can ISC research help you with investor-school partnerships? Here you can see the independent school brands that we have supported in recent years and some that we are currently working with. We have a strong reputation for supporting many leading independent schools and investors with their international developments. In addition to supplying them with crucial data, trends, and country intelligence to help them make informed development decisions, we also specialize in connecting school brands with the right potential investor partners and vice versa. King's College School Wimbledon, one of the academically most successful schools in the world, is one example of a British independent school that ISC Research has supported through data provision and investor partner selection. The school is also an excellent example of how a school brand expands to one country and then grows internationally. Other recent ISC investor partner projects, which involve both British and US independent school brands, are located in South Korea, Cambodia, Hong Kong, China, Japan, Africa, the Middle East, as well as Thailand. Our school partners feature consistently at the top of the UK school league tables, but it is important to consider that this is not the only criteria, and we can guide you with selecting the right partner. ISC Research has a team of over 40 staff worldwide, with offices in the UK, China, and the Philippines. Here you can see our investor partnership team. As a team, we will guide you through every stage of forming a school partnership and planning an international school development. ISC recently published a white paper on why and how independent school brands open overseas campuses. If you would like a free copy, please get in touch. We look forward to the opportunity of talking with you and supporting you with your investment plans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Freddie, for the market intelligence on international schools and investors opportunity. I can see that we have a few very interesting questions in the Q&A box on school bullying in the UK, visa and English requirements for TVET study in the UK, online TVET learning. All have been answered, so make sure that you check those conversations which may be useful to you. Are there any more questions? Please type it in here. In the meantime, we have a question. So I think this is for Freddie, ISC Research. So what are some of the top restrictions faced by UK schools and education providers when coming to the Thai market? Could you please share a few points briefly, maybe in a few minutes, please?
Sure. I think the three areas you should look at is firstly on students, curriculum, and then setting up the school. So students, student enrollment, as I mentioned previously, there's no longer a 50% cap, so all local students can attend international schools. And then secondly, onto curriculum. Thai culture and Thai language are important local curriculum elements that need to be needs to be provided by the international school. And there's different weekly number of classes that need to be provided. So it's 250 minutes a week for Thai nationals and 50 minutes a week for the local students. And then finally, as I mentioned previously, as a foreign a foreign brand coming into Thailand to set up an international school, you need to be aware of the restrictions around ownership over land and finding suitable partners. So when you go to Thailand, you need to make sure you have a Thai partner who has at least 51% of the ownership. And this partner must have at least a bachelor's degree and has the purpose of setting up an international school as education is the only purpose and objective. So those would be the key points I mentioned.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your answer. If there are no more questions, I think we can look to draw this webinar to a close. I would like to thank all of our speakers, Uri Wan from British Council, Afshan from Evolve Global, and Freddie from ISC Research, as well as our audience for today's session. A few things to note, we are making the link to the recording of this webinar available. Starting from tomorrow, you get an email from BCCT, and also we'll be doing the questionnaire, the survey questionnaire, to see what we did well and things that you'd like to know further. So feel free to respond to that. And if nothing more for today, thank you so much all of our speakers and the audience, and I wish you a wonderful day and evening in Thailand. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Jojo. Thank you, everyone.